So a question that I think that is on everybody's minds and a question that I've been getting on a daily basis when I'm speaking to people is, Alice, should I make a move now or wait for prices to drop even more and for rates to come down further? And honestly, I get why people are feeling stuck in this environment. Rates have finally come down. The headlines are still as dramatic as ever, and everyone has a cousin's, uncle's, friend who swears that the market is about to fall off a cliff. And in my personal opinion, I think that we've already witnessed the dive off that cliff and we've been kind of treading water for the last little while. That being said, I don't think that prices are going to increase anytime soon. My name is Alice Prince. I'm a real estate broker here in York Region in the GTA. I help many buyers and sellers make sense of today's market, really cutting through the noise and focusing on what really matters. So whether you're thinking about making a move or you just kind of want to stay informed, my goal is to give you a clear perspective backed by real numbers and meaningful insights. So if you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss the next update. And if you're planning on making a move in the next 3, 6, or 12 months and you just kind of want some guidance, there's a link in the description below where you can book a call and I'd be happy to chat. So in today's video, I'm going to break down whether it makes more sense to move now or wait and how this market could change what you pay without even noticing. Because here's the truth. Nobody actually knows what rates are going to do. Not me, not the Bank of Canada, not even the economists who sound so certain on TV. Now, sure, we can look at trends and make educated guesses, but the interest rates react to global events, inflation data, and economic surprises, all of that which can shift very quickly and none of us have a crystal ball for. And this is not about fear mongering, it's just the reality. Think back to pre-2020, like when life felt predictable and steady, and absolutely no one expected that we would spend the next couple of years wearing masks and having to stay on 6 feet apart. The point is that the world can change very fast and markets can also change very fast. Because anything can happen at any point in time, and waiting for that perfect moment based on predictions is risky, because those predictions are never guaranteed. Now, what we can do is look at what is happening right now. And at the moment, rates have come down, but we've got a ton of inventory. Consumer confidence is super low and the economy does feel shaky. And all this tariff talk is making everyone feel uneasy. And when people feel uncertain, we know that they pause. So do I think that prices are about to surge? Honestly, no. If anything, we might see a little bit more softening. Because for prices to actually rise in a meaningful way, a lot would need to shift. I think people would want to see that trade conversation get a little bit better, or at least understand which direction it's going, because right now it seems like that's on hold. People need to feel secure in their jobs and businesses need stability. And on a whole, I think that people need to feel like there's a light at the end of the productivity tunnel. There's been so much mention about how many homes are available for sale, but that is not unusual. Historically, we've seen this level of homes before, and as a buyer, it's finally so nice to have options. But what's dragging the market down from a status perspective is the lack of sales. Sales need to rise because prices only rise when demand outweighs supply, and we're nowhere near that right now with the amount of homes that we have available for sale in the market. And I really don't think that any further rate cuts are going to make a massive difference. Even the Bank of Canada has said that their monetary policy alone cannot undo the damage caused by the tariffs. So Canada Press put out this article that said the Bank of Canada's Governor Tiff Macklem says that interest rates are already near the lowest point they can responsibly go. Even though the economy could use stimulus, especially with the tariffs putting long-term pressure on prices, cutting rates further actually risks pushing inflation back up. Now, the recent drop to 2.25% puts rates at the bottom of the bank's neutral range, offering some support without losing control of inflation. So Macklem emphasized that Canada's real long-term challenge is productivity, which needs to improve to help offset the impact of those elevated inflation numbers that we were seeing. Tariffs, he noted, also make that even harder. So for now, he does not believe that lower rates are the solution. Instead, he highlighted the need for structural changes like reducing internal trade barriers and improving transportation corridors to lower the cost of doing business and raise incomes. So all in all, rate cuts do obviously help, but they can't magically fix the structural issues that we're dealing with. So until confidence, trade stability, and productivity improved, there's no strong reason for prices to take off. Now, prices will eventually rise again. Real estate always does its thing over a long period of time, but for them to bounce quickly in this environment, a lot would need to change, and none of those things are happening today. But have you thought about what happens if rates do rise? Because the possibility of rates rising is still on the table, so waiting for that better rate scenario could backfire just as easily. Here's a perspective that I think might get lost in the mix a little bit. You don't need to wait for prices to drop if you believe that they're going to drop in the future. You can negotiate that drop today. Let me show you what I mean. Let's say that you want to buy a $1 million property today with 20% down at 4%. Your monthly payment is about $4,223. Now, if rates rise to 4.5%, that same home jumps to about $4,447 a month, which is not great, but it's not catastrophic either. But let's say that you believe that the market will soften by 5%. Now, instead of waiting to see if you're right, you can negotiate that 5% today, bringing that price down to $950. At the same 4% rate, your payment drops to about $4,012, saving you over $200 a month simply by negotiating the price. Now, here's what really matters. When you compare the two scenarios side by side, the cost difference really becomes clear. If you buy now at $950 with a 4% rate, your monthly payment is about $4,012. And over 5 years, you pay down more of your mortgage and spend less on interest. But let's say that you want to wait until next year, and let's say that you do get the same house at $950,000, but let's also say that that rate now has increased to 4.5%. Your payment jumps up to $4,224, which means you're spending an extra $212 every month for the exact same house. Now, over 5 years, that adds up to almost $13,000 more out of your pocket, plus you pay about $18,500 more in interest, and you end up with $5,700 less in equity because you've paid down the principal less. All in all, waiting actually could cost you roughly $24,000 more over the first 5 years, even though the purchase price is identical. Now, one thing I know to be true is that real estate rewards long-term ownership. You build equity by owning, not by waiting on the sidelines hoping for the market to do exactly what it is that you want it to do. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. Now listen, everything I'm sharing here is just perspective to help you kind of think through the numbers. At the end of the day, the decision to buy should always come down to your own personal situation and what you can comfortably afford. I don't believe in stretching yourself to the edge just to say that you own a home. You should never drain every single last penny that you have, and you should never feel stressed or squeezed or trapped because of home ownership. A home should feel like it's adding stability to your life and not pressure, right? None of the math matters if that monthly payment doesn't feel right for you. Buy the home when the numbers work, when the home fits your life, and when you can sleep at night knowing that you're not overextending yourself. That's really that perfect moment. So if you believe a $1 million home might be worth $950,000 next year, this market gives you the leverage to negotiate that price today, knowing what it is that you know today. You get the home that you actually want at the price that you think it's headed toward, and you start building equity immediately instead of waiting for that perfect moment that may never come. So yes, rates matter, prices also matter, but the real power move is understanding the market that you're in and using it to your advantage. If the right home comes up and the payment works for you and for your life, this is a market where you can negotiate hard, you can buy smart and build equity sooner rather than later. And if you're not confident with that, or the numbers might feel a little bit tight to you, then it is totally fine and okay to wait for it to make sense for you. Just make sure that it's a strategic wait and not a fear-based one. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. My name is Alice Prince, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.